When we talk about classical liberalism, I mean, this is the kind of this is a function of the way that we talk about ideology. So in other words, you look at Locke, you look at Hume, you look at Smith, none of these guys, even as they produced the liberal tradition, none of them knew they were liberals, right? So in other words, we look back, we said the set of ideas, the doctrines that were produced by this general set of thinkers, this canon, we'll call it, we'll set the lines here, we'll say anyone within this way of thinking, we'll call it liberalism. And there's many ways in which, I mean, so you take even people as chronologically close to one another as Locke and Hume, they disagreed very strongly on a number of different things. So, right, so Hume is not a natural rights theorist. Hume is extremely shy on the right of resistance and all this kind of stuff. And yet, I think we would say that both of them contributed to something that, looking back, we call the liberal project. So liberalism, I think, tends to be much broader, much bigger than libertarianism. I mean, I would say that today, both major political parties, well, 10 years ago, I would say both major political parties in America would fit within the tradition of liberalism, broadly understood. So, I mean, very few people are running around today saying we ought to suspend, rights of due process. We ought to suspend free speech or something like that. Very few people are offering what I would consider to be real alternatives to liberalism, whatever whatever those alternatives might be. They might be theocracy, they might be communism. I mean, in other words, we seem to have, in some sense, settled on the idea that individuals have claims against the state, that individuals ought to be as free as possible, and all this kind of stuff. And so in many ways, we're kind of working out on the margins of that particular view. Libertarianism seems to me as a kind of a smaller political doctrine within that broader thing that we call liberalism.